But you know what? Everybody knows who Mickey is, and everybody knows about Walt Disney, don't they? So I am going to read you a story about someone that Disney himself, Walt himself, inspired. Okay? Walt Disney himself was such a creative genius, in my opinion, that even today we are still being affected by him. Nowhere in the world can you go that people don't typically recognize who this is, right? And that is all because of Walt and his creativity. So I'm going to read to you a story. It's called A Pocket of Colors. It's the magical world of Mary Blair, Disney artist extraordinaire.
How about Goofy?
Hold on. Let's listen, please. So I'm going to read you this story about Mary Blair. She actually was an artist that worked for Disney, so you'll be able to see. Let's put our hands down till the end. Under a wide blue sky on a red dirt road in a lemon yellow house, there lived a little girl named Mary. Other children collected marbles or dolls, but Mary collected colors of every shade and every hue. One day, Mary's parents announced that they were moving out west. As she waved goodbye to the yellow house, Mary tucked her friend Lemon in her pocket. Mary would miss her happy home, but she had new colors to collect. Driving across the sun-bleached desert, Mary spotted russet, taupe, and sienna. When she arrived in California, she glimpsed at the azure ocean and found groves of golden fruit dripping from the trees.
Blue.
Look at those crazy colors she saw.
Blue, red, green, peach.
In the city, she discovered steel, gray buildings, and mauve-tinted skies. Mary opened her sketchbook. She mixed her paints. She would save those shades for just the right time.
That's really paint. How could she carry a bag full of paint and paint?
Let's wait, please.
Sorry.
When she was older, Mary went to art school. She met Lee. He showed her rosy pink and blushing red. She kept those colors in her heart. Together, Mary and Lee painted rainbows, but it was the Great Depression and people were poor. No one was buying rainbows except one place. Where do you think that place is, based on what I've already told you?
Oh, I know, in books. What?
You got it. Let's see what happens. Mary landed a job at the Walt Disney Studios, one of the first women ever hired there. Finally, a place for colors where her colors could run and dance and play as they pleased.
Oh, Snow White.
So look at Mary, and there's Walt. But on her first day of work, the men in charge didn't want to talk to her about all of her colors. They were only interested in black and white.
What?
Mary was told to follow the rules.
Where's her?
She tried, but her colors were too vivid, too wild. When Mary turned in her work, all of her ideas were rejected. Twinkling emerald skies, the men turned them blue. Magenta horses that could fly, the men turned them brown and put them in a stable. Peach giraffes with tangerine spots, her bosses just shook their head. They didn't know what to make of her art. But Walt, the man who owned the company, did. He loved her colors so much that he asked Mary to join him in a trip to South America to meet some new ones.
Ooh, colors. Rainbow. Watch it flow, watch it flow.
Mary was delighted by the colors of Brazil, Argentina, and Peru. She worked hard to capture the vibrant scenery. When it was time to go home, Mary's bags burst with fuchsia, teal, aquamarine, indigo, lime green, and banana yellow.
Banana yellow.
Aren't those amazing colors?
Minion.
After Mary returned to Disney, her concept art for the studio's upcoming new films grew even more adventurous. As she drew upon the eye-popping shades she observed in South America, Cinderella needed a teal pumpkin coach, and the caterpillar in Alice in Wonderland could only be aquamarine. And the mermaids in Peter Pan, they just had to be lime green. This time, some of Mary's ideas were accepted, but most of her art was still considered too modern and too abstract, and just not right. Mary's colors encouraged her to leave them in their black and white lines and strict rules. So she did.
Some people wearing brown. I don't care.
Mary quickly found new work designing advertisements, illustrating picture books, and creating sets for plays and television commercials. She enjoyed the freedom of these new jobs, but Mary missed Walt. Then one day, out of the blue,
Oh my God! Woo!
let's see what happens. Her phone rang. It was Walt. Mary, I have a project for you. I need your wild and beautiful colors. His voice boomed. Walt explained his idea to build a magical ride that would teach people about the cultures from around the world. The ride had to be full of color, which meant that there was only one person for the job. Mary, you know about colors I've never even heard of before. Mary smiled, and then she frowned as she remembered the rules and the lines that the men in charge didn't understand. There was only one answer. She said yes. But her yes came with some conditions. This time, Mary wanted to be the one in charge. Walt welcomed her aboard. Mary's paint seemed to sparkle when she hung up her phone. She had never been to places like China, Morocco, or Kathmandu,
Jamie.
but her colors had.
What? That's weird. Whoa.
Sitting down to work, she squeezed out dabs of paint. Lemon yellow, aquamarine, and azure, mauve, taupe, tangerine, sienna, steel gray, magenta, teal, indigo, and emerald shine from her palette. Then she picked up her brush, and the colors Mary had so carefully collected all of her life on her trips around the globe.
Around the globe. Around the globe.
Isn't that cool?
I can't believe that's not a rainbow in the sky now.
When the work was done and the ride opened, people gasped with awe. It's a Small World was a sensation.
Disney World. Disney World.
When it was Mary's turn to take the ride, she leaned back in the boat and let her colors wash over her. It was a world of laughter and a world of smile. And color, color everywhere. This, at last, was Mary's world.
They call it Disney World.
The end. So Mary is the one that actually designed the whole ride, It's a Small World. And Walt opened up that ride at the California